Did I tell you to enter the attendance? Who gave you the permission to enter the attendance? You join 15 minutes late and you give the attendance and you leave. 55 students joined and now only 52 are there and half of them have given their attendance. If you are attending only for the sake of attendance, then don't take the trouble. I'll give you the attendance. Don't worry about it. I will give you full attendance. Okay, don't worry about your attendance. If you wish to attend, it should be only for the purpose of learning. Nobody should enter the attendance without my permission. Anyway, I will not give attendance to other students who are, who joined late. Okay, so I was telling you about the third step of a link state routing, which is called as building link state packets. Just now I have described how link state packets are built. Every router will maintain a packet, will create a packet called as a link state packet, which includes the identifier for the router, a sequence number, a age, and a list of its neighbors along with their line costs. Once these link state packets are made ready, then the next step will start, which is distributing the link state packets. Now, why link state packets are made ready? So that when it distributes the link state packets to other routers, or at least to its neighbors, every router will come to know about its own neighbors. For example, when A sends the link state packet to B and E, it is going to make use of flooding. What A will do is it will flood. How A will flood? Now you all can see A is having two outgoing lines. So A will create two copies of the same link state packet. One copy will be sent to B, another copy of the link state packet will be sent to E. Once it reaches B and E, this link state packet, when it comes to this particular link state packet, when it comes to B, for example, this first link, A's link state packet comes to B. Now what B will come to know? There is a neighbor called A, whose neighbor is E. Now B doesn't have any direct connection with E. Okay, so A will come to know B will come to know B is connected to A. A in turn is connected to E. And to reach E, how much time is required? 5. So B will calculate, B will update its own database now. B will calculate the total time required for the packet, for any packet that it generates to go from B to E. How it will calculate? From B to A, the time required is 4. So from A to E, the time required is 5. The total time required for a packet to go from B to E, there's no direct path, but now it comes to know it can send any packet to E. The time required will be 9 seconds, or 4 plus 5, which is equal to 9. So it will update its own table. Like that, when such link state packets are flooded to each of the routers, everyone is exchanging information. There may not be direct routes, but since each one is exchanging such information, every router will come to know who are its neighbors and who are its indirect neighbors, direct neighbors as well as indirect neighbors. So what will happen now? Each of them will update their own routing tables and will maintain the data in such a way that every router now has updated information about the whole of the subnet. They may not be directly connected, but indirectly how they are connected, they will come to know through this list, through this link state packet. Now, every router will, once that flooding happens, once the link state packets reach the other routers who are there in the subnet, each of the router that is present in the subnet is going to create a graph showing from a given source how to reach all other destinations in the subnet. For example, from A will try to create a graph of how to go to B, how to reach C, how to reach D, how to reach E, how to reach F. So A has, even if it is not directly connected, because such information is exchanged, A will now have a list, will have a database which is updated every now and then. This age field is there, no? So every 10 seconds, suppose we have set it to 10, every 10 seconds, the old information will be discarded, new information will be obtained, and every now and then the router will update its own routing tables. So routing tables will get updated. Any new routes that are found out will be present inside the router's database. So any packet that comes to the router, it will look into its own table and then find out the best path. So in the last step, that is in the fifth step, every router will compute the shortest path from a given source to all the destinations in the subnet. We call that as single source shortest path, or it is also called as Dijkstra's method of shortest path routing algorithm. Once the packets are exchanged, every router will update its own database. It will come to know what is the best route to go from itself to all other nodes which are there in the subnet. That is done in the last step. That is the fifth step. So what does a router do in the fifth step? It will compute the shortest path or the shortest route from itself, that is from the source, to all other destinations. All other destinations means all other routers present in the subnet. We call this method as single source shortest path. From single source, how to reach all different destinations that are there in the subnet. And this is done with the help of an algorithm which is called as Dijkstra's shortest path routing algorithm, which you will learn in DA also. Design and analysis of algorithms is there. No? There also you will learn Dijkstra's shortest path algorithm. Here also we are going to teach you, I'm going to teach you Dijkstra's shortest path algorithm. Only thing, I will teach you the shortest path routing algorithm in the college. When I go to college, maybe in the next week, our college will begin. Not for you, it will begin for us. We will be asked to take classes from the college. When I go to college, I need the blackboard so that I can draw and I can teach you how that shortest path is computed. So Dijkstra's shortest path routing algorithm, we will learn after a few days, but this is how link state routing algorithm works. First step, it will discover the neighbors. Second step, it will calculate the line cost. Third step, it will build the link state packets. Fourth step, it will use flooding to send link state packets to all the destinations. And then in the fifth step, it will update its own database because data will come from other routers also. And then it will come to know which is the best path or the shortest path to go from one source to all the destinations that are there in the subnet. Everybody is following this? Okay, I have told you 5 steps of link state routing algorithm. Okay. Everybody got this? If you have any doubts in this, then ask. Now, those of you who have joined late, today is the last warning. After this, I will not encourage you or entertain you if you're joining late and giving only your attendance. Only today, I am giving you this warning. From the next class, join on time. If you're taking 10-15 minutes to join, there's no point in joining at all. Okay? Enter your attendance, those who have not entered. Okay. Now there is one more routing algorithm, which is called as hierarchical routing algorithm, which we will learn quickly. This next routing algorithm is called as hierarchical routing algorithm. Now, basically, this is not an algorithm or it is not a routing algorithm. Rather, even if we say it is hierarchical routing, it is not an algorithm for deciding the best path. Rather, it is an algorithm for optimizing the length of the routing table. Now, what happens generally when there is a subnet and many routers are there in the subnet? The routing table becomes too large, too long. Many entries will be there in the routing table. Okay, everybody knows routing table, no? Routing table is a vector, or routing table is a database which contains the name of the router and the best path or the time that could be required to reach that particular router. So what happens generally is, you can imagine internet. In internet, it covers the whole of the world. So thousands and lakhs of routers are going to be there. And if we decide to maintain a table containing lakhs and lakhs of entries in the database, there's no problem. You can always maintain it. Your database can be big enough to store all the lakhs of routers and their entries. But what happens is, time required to search a big database will be very big. That is, time required will be more if your database is big. And to search, for example, if suppose I want to transmit a particular packet from Belgaum to maybe New York, so it has to pass through many subnetworks and reach the New York the region. In that case, it has the router has to check the whole of the database with lakhs and millions of entries, and then find out how to reach the New York region. Now, searching in a big database which has got millions of entries will take long time. To avoid that, most of the routing that is happening in large networks, particularly in wide area networks, the routing tables are optimized with the help of a concept which is called as hierarchical routing. Okay. Now, to make you all understand what is hierarchical routing, I will try to take one example. Imagine right now, don't look at the figure A, but don't look at the regions. Imagine we have a very big network and we have many routers in it. So we have a region called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In first region, there can be 1A, that is region 1, router A, region 1, router B, region 1, router C. Like that in region 2, region 3, region 4, region 5, and region 6 maybe. Okay. Now, if at all we decide to store the data for all the routers in the whole of the network, then the table will be very big. You all can see, suppose this is the table. Imagine we are having 3 columns there. First is the destination. Second column is preferred outgoing line. Third column is number of hops. Instead of line cost, that is instead of time, we have the line cost is measured in terms of the number of hops, means how many jumps, how many hops are required to go to a particular region or to go to a particular destination. So look at this first table, or the figure B. In first table, suppose we are talking about router 1A. If we want to send a packet from router 1A to 1A, 1A to 1A means from the source is also same, destination is also same. That doesn't happen. So we want to send from 1A to 1B, then the outgoing line, see, there is a direct connection between 1A to 1B. So what is the outgoing line? 1B, and number of hops. How many jumps are required to go from 1A to 1B? Just one hop, one jump, one transmission, or what you can say. If at all we want to reach the destination, just one hop is enough. So the number of hops are 1. If we want to go from 1A to 1C, again, there's a direct path. So the outgoing line is 1C. You have to look into the table, and number of hops are 1. But suppose we want to transmit the data from 1A to 2A. Okay. Now 1A is a router in first region. 2A is a router in the second region. So if we want to send to 2A, there's no direct path. So can you see the entry for 2A? the preferred outgoing line is 1B. Means from 1A, it will be sent to 1B. From 1B, it will be sent to 2A. So the number of hops from 1A to 1B, 1 hop. From 1B to 2A, 2 hops. So number of hops required will be 2. Like that, if we want to send to 2B, again outgoing line is 1B, number of hops are 3. If we want to send to 2C, outgoing line is 1B and the number of hops are 3. Similarly to 2D, we have to make use of 1B and the number of hops are 4. Like that 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 4C. As many routers are there, that many entries are there in this table. Okay. If there are say about 16 routers here, I don't know, 5, 3, 8, 9, 10, 13, 13 and 4, 17, I think. About 17 routers are there. So 17 entries are there. So this is just one example where if there are about 17 routers, 17 and different entries you have to maintain in the table. So the length of the table becomes very big. To avoid this, in most of the wide area networks, what they do is they divide the whole of the subnet into smaller regions or smaller geographical areas, which are called as regions. So for example, Karnataka could be one region, or maybe Punjab could be one region, or the whole of South India could be one region. Australia, in that many states are there, that could be one region. So if we want to cover the whole of the world, we need not maintain all the routers, millions of routers, all entries we need not maintain. We just have to maintain one entry for one region rather than all the routers in that region. You have to just maintain one entry, one record of the routers present, of the region present in that particular area. So see if we make use of hierarchical routing method, see how the length of the table has decreased. If you all can see, now we are talking about the router 1A. So this is region 1. It is saving or it is storing 3 entries here for region 1. That is, once it goes to region 1, 1A, 1B, 1C. But for other regions, that is region 2, region 3, region 4, and region 5, it is not storing all the entries of all the routers. It is storing only one entry, how to reach that particular region. Once it reaches that region, it can locally, route the data that is present with the help of routers that are present inside the region. I'll give you one example. Suppose you are, if your friend is staying in a different city and you don't know the exact address of that particular city, of that particular friend, the exact address of his house. So what would you do? You will not try to store in your diary or maybe in your database, you will not try to store everybody's address in his city, or all the areas or all the locations. What you will do? You will take a car and go to his area, his location. In that location, you will try to find a landmark which will take you near his house. Once you reach near his house, maybe 2-3 similar houses are there, you are able to pinpoint and reach your friend's house. Like that, we need not store the data about all the routers present in the region. We just have to store the data about each region. So if you all can see this hierarchical table for 1A, 1B, 1C, complete it is storing. But for region 2, it is not storing all the routers, only region number it is storing, that is 2, which is the preferred outgoing line, 1B. To reach region 3, which is the preferred outgoing line, 1C, okay, via 1C. And to reach region 4, which is the preferred outgoing line, first it has to send to 1C. From 1C, how further it should be done will be stored in the region 3's and 3B's table. Okay, to go to region 5 also, the preferred outgoing line is 1C. So the number of hops and the preferred outgoing line is stored. If you compare both the tables now, you can very well see that the second table has become reduced in length. When it becomes reduced in length, number of records in the database will decrease. The amount of time required to search the database will be less. Quite naturally, your routing will happen fast. So instead of storing all the data, we can just store it in the form of a hierarchy. For example, if at all data has to come to Belgaum, okay? So, and there's a router in New York. It will not store all the data about all the routers in India. It will store data only about how to reach the main router in India. So from New York, it will come to India. Now, Belgaum is in Karnataka. So what will happen from, if at all you have an India level router, it will then send it to Karnataka. Karnataka will, in that there will be many states and many districts. In that the router will come to connect it to Belgaum, and in Belgaum maybe location wise it will be sent to my house. So can you see the hierarchy now? No need of storing all the data about all the routers that are present. Just store the main routers. Once it reaches to that router, local routing can happen and the hierarchy can be maintained, so that millions of routers and their information need not be stored in every router. That will save the amount of time. It will also save the amount of space required to reach the packet to the destination. This method of optimizing the memory space and reducing the length of the routing table to improve the performance of an algorithm or the performance of routing is known as hierarchical routing algorithm. I hope you people are understanding the concept that I'm trying to tell you. Hierarchy means levels. So India level, then state level, then district level, then locality level, and then to a particular destination. Like that, if we maintain, we don't have to maintain the data about all the routers, only few routers data we can maintain. Okay, I hope I'm clear and I have told you what is meant by hierarchical routing. Everybody is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now what we will do, we will stop here and we will continue again in the next class in the next week. If by chance college reopens by 21st, then once I go to college, that shortest path routing I will teach you in the college. Otherwise, whenever it reopens, that is maybe in July first week at least, surely it will reopen. That time I'll take. Otherwise, all other routing algorithms that are there in your syllabus that I have covered. I have covered flooding, I have covered distance vector routing, link state routing. I just need to cover about shortest path routing, which I will teach in the classroom. On the blackboard, I will try to teach. Okay, we will stop here. Okay, and we'll continue in the next class.